Welcome to MatSu Untold 2026. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate everybody coming out tonight and joining MatSu Sentinel for this evening of storytelling. It is our second annual evening of community storytelling. We're going to make this a yearly thing, and next year we're going to go into a bigger space so that when you want to buy a ticket or your friends want to buy a ticket, I don't have to turn you away because that makes me feel bad. Okay. I'm Amy Bushatz. I'm the founder, editor, and reporter, all the things, for MatSu Sentinel. And I am joined here tonight by the MatSu Sentinel board, who might have helped you check in or and helped us set up all these beautiful chairs. And an incredible group of volunteers, including Sabrina Combs in the back, who is slinging beer for us from Hamilton Farms, and Emma Drick, who is taking photos. I've also got Mike and the Big Cabbage team. It sounds like a band, doesn't it? Just an idea. Okay. Mike and the Big Cabbages, all right, running sound for us tonight. And you'll also see a few MatSu Sentinel readers helping us out, like Lee and Sebastian. They're around. So, okay. So I am all about stories, which is why I run a newspaper and which is why I have this event for us. But more than anything else, I'm about stories around MatSu. And it's why I love this event. It gives us all a chance to hear MatSu stories. It's in the title, right? Before we get rolling tonight, I want to take a moment to thank our event sponsors. I already mentioned Hamilton Farms, Palmer Brewing Company, which is where Arco's used to be, donated a keg of beer for us tonight, so they're in support. And then we also have some auction items here I'll tell you about in a minute. You've had a chance to look at our silent auctions in the back. They'll be available again during the break, which I'll tell you about also here in a second. If you see my name on one of them, okay, all right, because some of those things have been in my house, and I've been thinking about them for a long time. Okay, so our live auction coming up here includes a really amazing paddleboard trip for two out to the Knik Glacier from Alaska Helicopter Tours. Apparently, we love glaciers here in MatSu. So we also have a ice cave, helicopter landing, and cabin stay, that's a tongue twister, and breakfast for three out at the Matt Glacier from Sheep Mountain. And then we've got one of those sweet round-trip tickets to Seward from Anchorage from the Alaska Railroad, materialized in my mailbox the other day from the Alaska Railroad, so that's exciting. And then we've got a night up at the Perch, which is cabins up by Denali National Park, and dinner for two at tongue twister again, Panorama Pizza Pub. It's like they tried to make it hard for me, right? And Marty Mativa is going to be running our auction for us here in a little bit. Okay, so MatSu Sentinel was launched in 2024 as an independent, nonprofit, and nonpartisan news website for MatSu. And I started MatSu Sentinel because I saw a need, honestly. There was simply a lack of clear, connect-the-dots news coverage for the Valley. I've been a news editor and reporter for over 2 decades, and I knew I could help fix that. The MatSu Sentinel exists because you support it. And your community support has been, honestly, just astonishing. You read, you give, you show up at something like this, and I just want you to know that I really appreciate each and every one of you for doing that. Every time I see somebody's name show up in my inbox, it's like I see that, and I think about you when you do that, and I really appreciate you. So thank you so much. If you've read the MatSu Sentinel newsletter, you know that I am a little nerdy, and I have a deep affinity for roads. I just love them, okay? I love writing about road construction, and I love writing about parking. I'm not even going to tell you why. It's a long story. I promise it's actually more interesting than it sounds, but okay, but like that's the thing, all right? So when I was thinking about a theme for tonight, I hit on the idea of things that move us because I love writing about roads, all right? But not everybody likes to talk about roads, so we expanded it a little bit, okay? So the theme tonight is things that move us. It's inspired by my affinity for road work, but it is really about the vast array of things that move us. That can be trains, planes, and automobiles, or it can be emotionally. And so what you're going to hear tonight is community stories that create stronger connections around things that move us. I'm so excited to introduce to you 7 storytellers tonight and the stories of what moves them. We're going to hear from 3 of them before we have a break for our live auction and for the silent auction to close. And then we're going to come back and for you to get more beer and more food, okay? And then, because listen, if you guys don't eat that stuff, I have to take it home. And while I have very tall people who are affiliated with me, there's not, I mean, really, help me out, okay? So, and then we'll come back for the rest of our stories, okay? So, with the honor of starting our story time, we're going to go back in time in Palmer with Ira Edwards. Now, you may notice when Ira comes up here that he has definitely put his body to the test in Alaska. But none of his injuries, he says, were actually from doing sports or law enforcement, more like small things such as helping people. Ira is currently a government scientist and a paid ski bum, but it's like his 7th career, so we're having trouble keeping track. Tonight, his story of things that move us is one of mixing teenage shenanigans, BMX bikes, the Matanuska riverbed, you can see where this is going, and staying alive. If you know Ira at all, you know he's infamous for his wide range of interests and adventures, and this is certainly one of them. Please welcome Ira Edwards to the stage.
Probably should have practiced this part first. Okay. There we are. Hi, my name's Ira. I actually grew up here in Palmer. I recognize a few people here from back when I was a kid, and you guys were still older than me then. This story tonight, or all the stories tonight, are supposed to be about things that move you, and I took that to mean things you're passionate about, and then she corrected me and said it should be roads. And then I'm like, well, I got a better idea. I'm finding out ways you're actually going to stay alive, because you sometimes got to move fast in order to stay alive. Now, I didn't do anything like chasing bears or moose or anything like that as a kid. We all did that, so that's not what kept me alive. It was more like how to not get in trouble with your parents. So we'll just keep that in mind here. I grew up out in the Butte, riding around with a whole bunch of other, this story takes place about when I was about 11, so not quite teenager, but at the point where you don't really know better, but you do know better, where you know you shouldn't be doing this. As a result, remember, we're trying to stay alive here. We'd ride around, a bunch of little kids in the summers with our BMX bikes out in the riverbed, and you can find all kinds of really cool stuff out there. People drive out there in the spring and try to get driftwood for big bonfires. Those are the older kids, like our older brothers and sisters. Or we'd find things. And often it was like an old truck or an old Jeep or something that was just stuck there. Now, if you've spent time out in the riverbeds, it floods every year, and things get stuck out there. We found this is 1985, we'll say, and we found at least 10-year-old pickup truck. So for us, that was really old when you're 10 years old. In the back of the truck had a whole bunch of wooden crates, and in 3 of these wooden crates were what we figured was a 10 or 15-year collection of 3 fine adult publications, Playboy, Penthouse, and Hustler. Now, I grew up in the Butte. I grew up in a very conservative, very strict, modest family. We all knew that it would be a certain death to have one of these magazines set foot inside of our house. So there were about 6 of us, and we made sure that no one was ever going to let one of these magazines leave the truck. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about magazines. That's one way we decided to stay alive, is making a pact with your friends. Also, these boxes were all labeled Nobel for some reason. Dynamite Nobel. Realized also, since we all were 10-year-olds and watched a bunch of action adventure movies, it was full of dynamite. We didn't know enough not to be scared or hurtful, but basically being safe in Palmer meant not getting shot with guns. There were a lot of dumb things happening with the older kids, we'll call them, and making sure your parents didn't kill you again. So in knowing that we had 2 cases of dynamite in the back of an abandoned truck in the Butte on the riverbed with some pre-teenage boys and a couple of girls. You know bad things are going to happen. But we had to set some rules that no one could ever know about this. Now, they do say as a kid, a way to keep you out of trouble is to get you reading. There are a lot of cool things in the Palmer Public Library, and back in 1985, there was also a book called The Anarchist Cookbook. It is no longer in the Palmer Public Library. And the cookbook was really cool about all kinds of things that you can blow up and cause havoc to society. Now, again, I was not into causing havoc to society. I was told the society was very good and I should behave with all the other good kids. But it sounded really, really cool to blow something up. So the Anarchist Cookbook gave us ways to use car batteries, black powder, electrical wire, and light switches to make a spark, which would then detonate dynamite. We also knew that you had to be really careful about dynamite because you'd step on your tippy toes and not blow up other people, not blow up yourself, and be careful. There's cars and rocks and trees out there. So we did that. The dynamite also had a lot of nitroglycerin crystals around the outside of it since it had been out there for several years, so it was pretty old. So it was a really good idea. We did all the tiptoeing to stay alive. And that's where the fun started. This is the summer, probably a year before I got into junior high at Palmer Junior High School. So there was all kinds of good stories. We found, and if you've ever driven around or ridden your bike around the riverbed, about 20 years ago, the National Guard and state parks and DNR cleared up the Matanuska-Connect riverbeds. It was a great thing. They'd hauled out all kinds of dumpsters of cars, trucks, refrigerators, everything. Well, back in 85, this stuff was all still there, so it was stuff we could blow up even more. So we took out the first stick of dynamite very, very carefully and took a really, really long spool of electrical wire and made a pre-made blasting cap and set it up and ran away, and it didn't go off. So we did it again all very carefully, and the second one went off way bigger than we ever thought it could. Again, this is a 12, 13-inch stick of dynamite that we attached to a rock maybe the size of a small car. Now, we hid behind several other rocks, and again, we all stayed safe because we watched in the movies. You had to stay safe and hide behind things. But yeah, we blew up trees, cars, old stumps that had washed down the riverbed. We only had about 30 sticks of dynamite, so you couldn't do that much with it. But 36 of dynamite for a 10-year-old kid is a lot. And you definitely did not want anyone to ever know about what you were doing, so we could never bring our friends there. It was just a group of about 6 or 8 of us that found the magazines and found the dynamite and had a lot of fun that summer. So that's what moved me, not so much trying to get places, but trying to stay alive and not let our parents find out about what we did.
All right. Thank you, Ira. You're forgiven for not talking about roads. It's fine. Actually, I am glad that, because I could talk about, if you want to talk about roads, you hit me up in the break, okay? And we'll do that then. I don't know that we're going to hear any road stories tonight. That's just okay. All right. The things that move us can be big or small. They can be subtle. They can be really big. Out in Wasilla, a group of volunteers are laboring tirelessly to bring a big dream to life around a big thing that once moved Alaskans, literally, a steam engine. A steam locomotive that once moved along Alaska's rails. And leading them all is our next storyteller, Pat Durand, a lifelong Alaskan whose roots go back to 1937 when his grandparents first arrived here in Palmer. Please welcome Pat to the MatSu Sentinel stage.
Perfect. How's that, Mike? Okay. First, a disclaimer. I'm not an Alaska Railroad employee. I don't represent the Alaska Railroad. I'm speaking for Engine 557. While preparing for this evening, I realized that my 82-year-old brain no longer opens the file drawers in the proper order. Please pardon me for using notes to keep me moving on the track. I am the project manager in restoration of Alaska Railroad's last steam engine, number 557. Early on, I suggested 2 buildings owned by the Alaska Railroad to house the restoration. The old Kenai Supply Building in Wasilla, where we are, and another structure near the depot in Anchorage. Someone put enough snow on the roof of the Anchorage structure to collapse it. I took that as a true sign of providence. Volunteers motivate each other with a dedication to bringing the best possible efforts to restoring Engine 557. The only people paid have been short-term consultants and Mr. Robert Franson of Steam Services of America. He is our professional engineer. Robert prepared the required Form 4 engineering data on the boiler and made submission to the Federal Railway Administration. For the last 14 years, a hardcore group has been up to the challenge. From day one, Chief Mechanical Officer Jeff DeBrock, electrician Ken Elmore, machinists Jerry Cunnington and Terry Douglas, and boiler rat Art Chase were among the first work parties. Regulars today are Jeff Lawford, Ken Morton, Jerry Christensen, Al Steinbeck, Keith Knorr, Lynn Willis, Dale Olson, Dean Sawyer, Tom Walker, Laverne Buller, Jesse Lehman, Gene Augustine, and James Keene. Many more have come and gone. We only have one chance to do right by Engine 557. If we have to do it 2 or 3 or 4 times, so be it. That is okay because the finished job is inspiring. Engine 557 Restoration Company is a 501c3 not-for-profit Alaska corporation managed by an all-volunteer board of 10. We usually get by with 2 meetings a year. How'd you like to serve on that board? Every one of them has a very specific task, a function that they perform for the organization, and they do it faithfully whenever I call. They approve a budget, and I spend it. In 2014, we needed to file for a 501c3 nonprofit status, and Secretary Dick Morris was advised by his daughter to contact Lawyer Joe. Just tonight, for the first time, I met Lawyer Joe Reese in the back corner seat over there. He represented 557 through Davis Wright Tremaine in submitting our application to the IRS, and they must have paid the filing fee as well because I never got a bill. That was a major in-kind donation. In-kind donors set high expectations. They are truly contributing business partners. Alaska Industrial Hardware, Linden Transport, Central Environmental Services, Diversified Tire, Alaska Airlines, Republic Services, Great Land Welding and Machine, Weldair, Sunbelt Rentals, Central Welding Supply, Alaska Industrial X-Ray, Inlet Energy, N-Star Natural Gas, and Pat Garley of Arctic Fires Bronze. Each in their own way enable 557 success. Back in 2011, CMO Jeff DeBrock and I stood next to 557 on our arrival in Anchorage, and I said, "This looks like $1.2 million if I can raise another $600,000 in kind." Unbeknownst to me, Steve Silverstein, then VP at the Alaska Railroad, had already proposed a $700,000 budget and a matching grant request to the Rasmussen Foundation. Ed Rasmussen responded with a match challenge of $350,000, leading the way. Fundraising has always been an in-house volunteer effort led by Secretary Dick Morris. It took us 18 months to retire the challenge. We have never solicited nor received funding from any government entity. Nationally, the Daley Foundation, John H. Emery Heritage Trust, M.J. Murdoch Charitable Trust, and the National Railway Historical Society have provided grants. In addition to the Rasmussen Foundation, the Atwood Foundation, the Alaska Community Foundation, and the Kahiltna Family Trust have provided Alaskan support. Between our successful first fire test on November 8th, we brought pressure to the pop-off at 225 psi in the boiler for the first time in 50 years. Many of you may have heard the whistle. Between then and January 8th, we conducted our year-end fundraising campaign. We were elated when the goal of $85,000 was met with 98 individual gifts ranging from $10 to $10,000. Matanuska Electric Association advises that 65% of you ratepayers participate in Operation Roundup. In this room, I expect it's closer to 100%. Thank you all for elevating Engine 557 with your collective generosity, enabling the MEA Charitable Foundation to contribute a total of $54,900 in 8 grants to us over the last 13 years. Dick Morris's name comes up because he does all of the grant writing. We started with a worn-out locomotive and a bare shop floor. We are humbled by the generosity of our Alaskan community. For follow-up, I brought along a stack of rack cards and a flyer on the 11 questions most asked of Engine 557. I hope to welcome you all aboard an Alaska Railroad train behind Engine 557. All our collective effort is intended to move you as well.
Thank you so much, Pat. Thank you for sharing us with us and for taking time to be here tonight. We really appreciate you, Pat. So I met our next speaker because, like me, she's an ultra runner who often moves around MatSu by foot. But it's not a running story she has for us tonight. She promises. Of course she has plenty of those. And if you want to talk to her about them, you can hear them during the break too. But what moves Michelle tonight is, and what she's going to share with us, is something to which we all can relate. It's the movement of community. Please give it up for Michelle Hermelling.
I'm not very tall.
It's going to work.
Hey, if it fits a kid, it's going to fit me. It's cool. Oh, yeah. It's the right height for a 10-year-old. You're good. Friends, I am so happy to see so many of you out here. Thank you so much for coming. Amy is correct. This is not a running story. I wasn't born here, but I was raised here with quite a few of you out in the audience, actually, I think, at the base of Hatcher Pass before there was a ski talk and before there was a coffee shop. And I have always felt proud and comfortable calling this my home. Palmer High, class of 2000, and one of the things that I had always felt was what I would be when I grew up was a lifer. And I was proud of that. I was so happy to be from Palmer. When I was a kid, a couple of things I wanted to be were a cactus, Dan Marino, and a writer. Guess which one of those came true? Yes, absolutely. One of the things I never thought that I would be growing up was a divorced single mom struggling through dragging my child out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to daycare, living on a $21 an hour salary, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, just trying to survive. And unfortunately, that is where I found myself. Amy thought there wasn't going to be a story about roads tonight. Little did she know. I had scrimped and saved and fought and changed the locks and changed the lease and changed the heating bill and the electric over at our apartment for years. And when my son was 3, we found out that the complex that we were living in, which was in fact, some of you might remember this, an RV park with a laundromat on one level and 2 little apartments upstairs, scheduled to be demoed so that they could expand the Glen Highway. And I had guys from DOT knock on my door, and they said, there's money in this. And I thought, well, great, it's going to go to like all the bills I haven't paid for the last 6 months. Super helpful. And then I had to find us another place to live. So I moved us to the Butte off a road that is not borough maintained, up and around a hairpin corner in a trailer that nobody had occupied for at least 6 months. And when I opened the door to go look at it, the floor was covered in dead leaves. There were mice everywhere. And the person renting it out was telling me how great it would be if we could just clean the place up. Which I did, and which took a lot more of my dark hair insanity than I'm even going to tell you. So we were living in a place that was falling apart. And for the first time in my adult life, I thought, I don't want to be here. And it broke my heart because I had never wanted to leave Palmer before. I had traveled, I had gone to grad school, I had done my undergrad out of state, and I had always come home. And now I was, once again, faced with dragging my child out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to a different daycare, to drag myself to work, to not make enough money to pay the bills, and I was lost. So I got up one morning with my little homie, Walker, Texas Ranger. That is, in fact, where his name came from. That's not a story for right now. And I thought, it's Palmer Cleanup Day. Who doesn't love Palmer Cleanup Day? We're going to go. It's going to take me 25 minutes to get there because my Toyota Avalon's kind of on its last legs. It's not sounding so hot. But we're going to go help our community. We're going to go clean up Palmer. So I dragged my small human out of bed. Fortunately, it was a weekend. I didn't have to get him up until about 9 if he was going to sleep that long. And I bundled him up and I put him in his little backpack and off we went. So we're bopping around Palmer. Little 3-year-old Walker, and he's toddling around, and he just thought Palmer Cleanup Day was the most fun he had in his entire small life because we had left the house and Mommy had taken him to go do something fun. And he's putting his cans in those bright yellow bags. He was bound and determined to fill a whole bag of trash, no matter how many times we had to stop for a juice box, possibly to take a potty break behind a bush, or possibly to have a snack. He was going to fill his little bag because he knew at Palmer Cleanup Day, if you fill a bag of trash, you get to put your name in a drawing for a brand new bike. Well, it just so happens that with approximately $35.75 of my last money from my last paycheck, we had been coming up on Easter. So the Easter Bunny had brought him a brand spanking new shiny Ninja Turtle bike with training wheels. And 2 weeks later, the brand spanking new shiny Ninja Turtle bike with training wheels broke. And he was heartbroken. And I was even more heartbroken because where was I going to find $35 more for a Ninja Turtle bike? The Easter Bunny had failed. So I thought, too, that this was going to be a great chance. He was going to win a bike. We were going to win a bike at Palmer Cleanup Days. So he fills his little yellow bag of trash, and we go bopping back up to the pavilion, and we have our hot dog and our chips. And I wrote his name down, and he drops his folded piece of paper in the plastic jar, and we wait. And we hung out with some friends, and we looked at the other prizes, and I tried to tell him that it wasn't a sure thing. But when you're 3.5, and you believe in Santa, and you believe in the Easter Bunny, then also with all your heart you believe that the mayor of Palmer is going to pull your name out of that plastic jar, and you, by golly darn it, are going to win a Ninja Turtle bike. So we hung out, and we waited, and they started pulling names, and our friends were there. Rachel and Peter House with their girls. Many of you probably know Rachel and Pete and all three girls and their various pets. And the mayor pulls the name, and one house girl wins a bike. And Walker's face lit up. And the mayor pulls another name, and another house girl wins a bike. I'm not making this up. Ask Rachel. And Walker's face lights up. And the mayor pulls another name, and a third house girl, this is like the luck of the century, man, wins a bike. And they're all three standing there, all of his friends with bikes. And finally they get to the boy bikes, right? And he walks up, and he just stands there. And his eyes get big, and they draw one name, and somebody wins a bike and wheels it away. And they draw another name, and somebody wheels a bike away. And they draw the last name for the bike with the training wheels and the little blue helmet, and it's not his. And he breaks down, just sobbing, because when you're 3 and you believe in Santa with all your heart, and you believe in the Easter Bunny with all your heart, and your name doesn't come out of that plastic jar, everything falls apart. We were already living in a trailer full of dead leaves, full of mice, drafty. Everything around us was falling apart already. I hadn't even had a chance to change our names on all the paperwork, on the credit card, on our post office box. And he watched the bike roll away. And when you're in the worst period of your life that you've ever been in, and you're exhausted, and you've got $12 in your bank account, you think everyone can see it. And so I thought, I have got to get this little dude who's losing it entirely back in the car. Everybody can tell that I'm a divorced single mom, and all I want to do is get out of here. So I picked him up, and I picked his backpack up, and I walked down the little hill from the pavilion, and I'm opening the door to my questionable Toyota Avalon, completely absorbed in trying to calm him down and buckle his seatbelt and just get out of there. And somebody taps on my shoulder, and I thought in that moment, great, right? Like, somebody wants to know if my kid's okay. Somebody wants to know what's wrong. And so I didn't really look up right away, and I didn't really say anything right away. And finally, I get him calmed down enough to where I could stand up and turn around. And standing behind me is a middle school boy with a little bike and a blue helmet in his hand. And he goes, I got this for my little brother, but he already has one. I just want him to have this. And Walker's face lit up. Here was a kid who didn't have to do what he did. Here was a kid who just saw a tiny human and a really tired mom who needed something to believe in. And that kid became Santa and the Easter Bunny and the lady drawing a name out of a jar all at once. Because, my friends, sometimes the things that move us and the people that make them happen are the ones that convince us not to go anywhere at all, but to stay right where we belong.
Whoa. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. I can't even move on because I'm a little crying, okay? Okay, so at the risk of breaking the mood. Many of you know that one of my main tasks with the MatSu Sentinel is attending public meetings, okay? Some weeks I attend 15 hours of public meetings. This week I sat in a borough assembly meeting that at least one of you was also at. 2. Big Cabbage Mike was there. That didn't end until after 11:30 at night. Okay? I go to meetings in Wasilla, Houston, Borough Building, down at the school building, City Palmer, and right here in this room. Okay, and I say all of this. I do have a point, okay? That's how I know that the chairs in this room are the worst chairs. Okay? Because I have studied them all right? And I have thought about this, okay? And that is why I have made a chair ranking, and they are at the bottom, okay? In case you're wondering, this Borough Assembly building has the best chairs. They have like a bend to them. Anyway, I digress. Okay. That's why we're going to take a break, because the chairs in here are terrible, and you deserve to stand up and have more food. But before we do that, we're going to have our live auction, which I am very, very excited about. And we've got Marty Mativa, who I know can run an auction like you would not believe, who is going to help us. You might know Marty from his work in Rotary around the Valley. That's how I met him. And if you know Marty, you know he has a gift for running an auction. So he's going to come up here and help us with these fantastic goodies. Marty, if you would be so kind. Don't trip on our new ramp. Okay.
I thought this was a catwalk.
I want you guys to see this ramp, okay? While Marty comes up here. This catwalk/ramp, wonderful. This ramp was constructed today by the City of Palmer. They built this ramp today.
Oh, wow.
Because they did not have a ramp up here, and I have been asking them for approximately 8 months. So,
Really?
brand spanking new. Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Well, good. We'll give them feedback.
You have like cat calls I got?
Yeah, there you go. All
We
right.
should auction that off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will start them. No, I'm not going to start them on there. Here.
No, my wife's here. All right. Well, thank you, guys. And Amy, thank you for letting me help. I really appreciate it. This has been wonderful. I didn't know really what to expect. I know Amy. Amy's in our Rotary Club. I'm the district governor for Rotary, which is the entire state of Alaska. So we got 36 clubs, 1,300 people around the state, and I get to go visit them all. So this is that's kind of what my calling was. And, you know, much like Michelle, it's what I love is the same reason you all are here. It's a community. We live in Big Lake. My wife and I live in Big Lake. But it doesn't matter if you live in Big Lake, Wasilla, Palmer, the Butte. We're just one big community. And what I love about this is we all come, we all support everything, and we do it for the right reasons. You know, we don't do it because, you know, we get a pin or a badge or any accolades. We do it because we want to build a steam engine that has never run in 50 years. You do it because you want to pull people and be part of history. Yeah, we do it. I'm a little afraid, you know, because of Ira. I don't know if Ira's got any of that dynamite on him tonight. So, all right, because I was worried because you're in the front row, and I thought, I'm not far enough away. Yeah.
Do you think any 10-year-old's really going to save that?
No. But I am kind of curious because we're going to talk a little bit later after the auction. I want to know what you did with those adult publications. Because I think, Amy, we could auction those off tonight and made a lot of money. Maybe. First episode. But so I'm going to try and make some money tonight. And Amy's right. We are here because we want good news. Mm-hmm. And good news is not always good news, but good news is real news. And that's what the MatSu Sentinel does for us. And yes, you could applaud. Yes, you could. Mm-hmm. And while you're applauding, could you give a huge round of applause for this young lady over here in the corner? Mm-hmm. Amy, you rock. Thank you. And I'm really just honored that you asked me to help with this auction. So we've got 4 items. Now, Amy, can they pay cash, credit card?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cash or credit card, and if you are a winner, I want you to meet us in the back instead of me tripping over your friends. We tried that last year. It didn't work out. Too much tripping. Yes.
So,
Cash or card?
yeah, cash or card. Can it be in the So we don't have any paddles. I'm not an auctioneer. I just do this for fun because I love helping our community, and I love giving people a hard time, and I love being on the catwalk. I think I have a second career right here. I don't know. Maybe not. All right, so the first one we're going to auction off is one night at the Perch Cabins and Panoramic Pizza and Panorama Pizza Pub. That's a tough one. And the 3P Pizza Pub. It's up near Denali Park, and this is donated by the Perch. Now it's valued at $300. One thing I want you to remember, okay, this isn't a garage sale. We're not here to get deals, right? We're here to get good news. We're here to help the MatSu Sentinel because it costs money. It costs a lot of money. So the value is at $300. You're going to raise your hand. Can you all raise your hands? Yeah. See, this guy back here, I see him right here. He's the smart one. He said, I fell for that 20 years ago. I'm not doing that again. Uh-huh. All right, $300. Who's going to give me $150? You give me $300? 200? $200. I got $200 right now. Who's going to give me $250? I need $250. I got $250 now. I need $3. I need $3. I got $3 right there. Give me $350. I get $3. Give me $350. Give me $350. I get $3. $350. $325. $325 right here. Give me $350. Don't let her win it. Come on. You really want to go. You really want to go. $325 going once. $325 going twice. Oh, we got a $350 back there. $375. $375. $375. Make it $4. Make it $4. $375. Make it $4. $375. $4 right there. Make it $5. $4. Make it $5. That's how it works. If I say it fast enough, you raise your hand, and then you go, oh, crap. $450? 4 going once. 4 going twice. Any takers, any takers, any takers. 4 sold. What's your name, hon? What? I'm sorry? Colleen. Colleen, $400. See how easy that was? No blood, no pain. Just a good cause. And thank you for getting us started. I think I'm going to pick on you now. All right, the second one. Oh, you're going to like this one, Pat. This is a round-trip Alaska Railroad tickets, Anchorage and Seward, for 2 people? Yeah, okay. I'm just kidding. For 2 people, valued at $450. How many of us have family from the lower 48 come up every summer? You don't have visitors? Hold it. Now, hold it. So are you all of you are orphans? Come on, who has family come up in the summer? All right. You want to ship them out? You want them to go somewhere? We've got this taken care of for you. We've got it. The MatSu Sentinel takes care of you. They're here to serve your needs. Get your family out of town for a day so you can enjoy, right? Yeah. How many of you like that? All right, $450 value, Anchorage to Seward, round trip, or is it one way? No, round trip. All right. 2 people at $450. Who's going to give me $200? I need $200. I got $200 right there. $250? $250. Give me 3. I got 3 back there. Who's going to give me 4? I got 3 back there. Give me 4. I got 3 back there. Give me 4. Who's going to give me $350? $350? Give me 4. I got $350. Give me 4. You shouldn't scratch your mouth when you're at an auction. This is your only warning. All right, we got $350 right here. Who's going to give me 4? I got $350 going once, $350 going twice. Anybody? 4 right here. It's got 4. It's got $450. Give me $450. $425. $425. $425. Give me $450. $425 going once, $425 twice. Sold for $425. Turn around and tell my wife your name. She's writing it down. Janelle. All right, it's a third item. Okay, I got to switch this. Look at this one. Auction 3 here, Pat. And they don't help.
That was a real bargain.
What?
I charged $700 a seat on the summer solstice charter this year.
What? Can we have one of those to sell? Never say that to an
I'll try to make
auctioneer.
that available.
All right. But I do have to say, what I learned tonight is that when you get our age, because I'm almost 70, I'm like you. My brain doesn't open those file drawers in order any longer. So, yeah. So I really like that. I learned that tonight. That's a good one. So auction item number 3 is, this is your winter tour, MatSu Glacier, helicopter, ice cave landing, for 3 exploration for 3 and a one-night stay at, this should be Sheep Mountain, right? All right, it says Sheep Mountain, but I hope it's Sheep Mountain Lodge. Breakfast donated by Sheep Mountain Lodge and Glacier Views. It's a $1,200 value. Aren't you glad you didn't spend all your money? Now this, when your family comes up, you put them on the train and you go up to Sheep Mountain. See how it is? Again, MatSu Sentinel's here to take care of you. All right? All right, it's $1,200 value. I'm going to start this out at half price. Who's going to give me $600 for this? I got 6 right there. Who's going to give me 7? I got 7. Was that $2,000, Kevin? No? Okay. I got 7 back there from Kevin. Who's giving me 8? I got 8. Give me 9. I got 9. Give me 1,000. I got 1,000. Give me 12. Give me 12, Kevin. Was that 12? 11. Okay, you got 11. Give me 12. Got 11. Give me 12. Got 11. Give me. I got 12 right here. Give me 13. I got 12 right here. Give me 13. 13 right here. Give this man a round of applause. Encourage him. All right. 13 right here. Roger, give me 14. I got 14. He's a tough one. 15, 14. He's got me 14. He's got 14. 15 right there. Give me 16. 14 right there. Give me 16. 14. Come on. You've got your wife. Is your wife not worth another $100? We don't do that here. No, we don't. 15.50. 16. Is she worth $25? Come on, 50. All right, 16 right there. 16 going once. 16 going twice. Was that a bid? Okay, just checking. Sold! $1,600. Turn around and tell Cheryl your name. My wife's, yeah, there you go. All right, now what you've wanted to hear all night long, I'm almost done. Yeah. All right. Your last item. What's that? Oh, gosh, we should have had him drink before this. Can you imagine how much higher the bids would have been? All right, this is a helicopter trip, paddleboarding trip for 2 on the Kinnick Glacier lunch donated by Alaska Helicopter Tours. Value at $2,800. $2,800. I'm going to start this at half price. Who's going to give me $1,400? I need 14 back there. Kevin, I got 14. Who's going to give me 15? I got 14 from Kevin to give me 15. I got 14 from Kevin to give me 15. Give me 15. 14 going once. I got 15 there. Give me 16. 16 right here. I got $1,600. Kevin, give me 17. I got 16. Give me 17. 16. Give me 17. 16. 17 right there. Give me 18. 17. 17 going once. 18. Give me 2,000. No, just kidding. 19. 19? 19 right there, give me 2. Got 19 right there, give me 2. I got 19, give me 2. Got 19 going once. 19 going twice. You sure that wasn't a bid? Michelle? You keep going like this. I don't want you to lose out. You know, you could buy a lot of bikes for that much money. All right. Honey, what's your name? Sherry, $1,900 back there. Give her a round of applause.
I mean, he's got something. He's right about this catwalk. I didn't even test it beforehand. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marty, so much. Thank you for your generosity and for supporting local news in the Valley. It matters. You know, as we raise more money, we are going to be able to hire some reporters, which will be awesome because everybody has a story that they really wished I could write, but I, being just one person sitting in so many hard chairs, can only write so many stories. Okay. So the goal here is to build a newsroom that can support hiring more people so that we can cover all of the news. That's the idea. It's as simple as that. And with that in mind, I'm going to tell you guys of something very exciting that I've told very few people. Okay, this is a big deal for me. Just down here, with the idea of growth and getting ready to do that hiring, just down here, there's this tiny little hut of a building. Have you seen it? It used to have a Sarah Palin sign in the window. Very memorable. Okay, Talus used to be in there. That is going to be the MatSu Sentinel's office space. So I am very, very excited about that. The new owner is remodeling inside because it It had some history on the inside that needed to be repainted, and some clogs. We won't go into it. But they're fixing it, okay? And we should be in there in the next couple of months, and when that happens, you'll get an email. We'll tell you about it, and you will have a office warming party or whatever it is you do when you have an office, which I've never had. I've worked from home for 17 years. So it's going to be a lot for me. It's going to be okay. All right. So now we're going to take a break in 15 minutes at 8, let's say 8:05, okay, which is not quite 15 minutes. We're going to close the silent auctions, okay, and we're going to come back for the rest of our stories. I have 4 more storytellers for you. Bradley Carper is one of them. Mikey Evans, another. Denise Stats, Carly Shrek. All right, go, and then come back. Hello again. I hope that you got good food and some more drinks so that you don't have to take that stuff home. Okay, thank you. We've got those auction items closed, and we'll be announcing winners at the end of our event. My faithful companions will bring me the sheets, and I will just read your name out. That's how we're going to do that. And then you can go to the table where at welcome and pay for and receive your winnings, as it were. So, okay. We're back for more stories. We have 4 more stories for you this evening. All right. Sometimes life moves forward, and we move ourselves to keep up with it. Our next storyteller knows all about that. Born and raised in the Bristol Bay Area, Denise Stats was raised at one of those many canneries that dotted the shores of the rivers in that area before phones, TV, and PFDs. Denise is many, many things. She listed some of them when she sent me her bio, but she's more than that because she's somebody we also know as a wonderful community member here in Palmer. She's a spouse, mother, grandmother, reader, cook, entrepreneur, quilter, and like I said, really a keystone to our Palmer experience. Denise has moved along with the twists and turns of her life, and now she's going to tell us about one of them. So, please help join me in welcoming Denise Stats to the MatSu Untold stage.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm going to try a little harder. Good evening. Thank you for being here. Oh, maybe I should. Sorry about that. I'm not very good at this. All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here to support this very worthy cause. I really appreciate that. I'm a slow talker, and I hope that I can do this in the time allotted, so we'll get started, and you might have to ask me questions after. In 2014, I was living a comfortable life in what I thought was my end-of-the-road home here in downtown Palmer. Originally, as Amy said, I was from the Bristol Bay area, and I had played out my childhood, my youth, on the shores of the Naknek, the Nushagak, the Togiak, the Good News rivers. Really good living, happy living. Then for the first 25 years of a career, I worked as a physician assistant and did primary care medicine and trained community health aides from Kevalina in the Maniluk region around Kotzebue down to Sandpoint. I had lived in several regions and had spent well over 1,000 nights sleeping on the floors of clinics here and there and on pretty uncomfortable exam room tables. It was a good life, and I knew how to live it. I was really good at it. I traveled easily. My kids traveled easily. We knew what we were doing there. So when the opportunity came up to help to deploy the first telemedicine project to 100 villages with funds that Senator Stevens had brought home for us, I was a little anxious about the move because it demanded that we come to the road system, and that would be our first time really on the road system. But ultimately, opportunity kind of overtook hesitancy, and we made the move, and we moved to downtown Palmer. We got a big, beautiful house, and we filled it up with 4 generations of my family. We had a big backyard, and of course you can imagine if you come from where there's nothing, and remember this was not only pre-PFD, it was pre-Amazon, right? So we loved the access that Palmer provided us. I mean, everything, there was everything here. We could walk to get groceries, go to a restaurant, see a doctor, I mean, go to schools, go to churches, go to a library, buy fabric. It just didn't matter. Anything you wanted to do, you could do here. And I think I can sort of put that point home by telling you that it's been 32 years since I left Alaska. So clearly when I got here, I had found my nirvana. So we had chosen Palmer, but Palmer also seemed to kind of choose us in that we opened a small business, and my husband was gainfully employed by the Alaska Railroad. We had kids that were grown. Our daughter had just graduated high school and was off to college, and our youngest son was a junior in high school. When one morning I got up and my husband, over a cup of coffee, said very calmly, "I think it's time we look for property." I couldn't imagine what on earth he was talking about. I mean, I had a huge backyard. We had flowers. We had everything we could possibly want. You know, raspberries. I mean, goodness. So I tried to contemplate what it might be that he was wanting to do, and I thought, well, maybe he wanted to put up a shop so that he could do mechanical work after he retired, but that was way down the road, and I knew he wouldn't want to build a rental because we had been landlords, and that was not really for us at all. So ultimately I asked him, "Lauren, what are you thinking about?" And he said, "I want to milk cows." And I'm just going to tell you that that feeling that came over me at that moment is still with me. I feel kind of mildly nauseated. So I said, "Cows? Well, honey, you do realize that everybody we've ever met from Wisconsin or Minnesota or any of those places came to Alaska expressly because they don't ever want to have to milk another cow." And I said, on top of that, I was raised on canned milk and powdered milk, and I don't really have an affinity for that stuff. So, and he said to me very reassuringly, "You're going to love it." Now, to be very clear, I thought of cows as short moose that were really fat. And I can tell you that there was not one bit of me that thought that I was going to love any of it. But eventually a piece of land came up, and it took us a while to make the decision to move because it wasn't an ideal piece of property by any means. It's very hilly, which is not good for animals or for a 6-year-old wannabe milker. Then there were other issues. So, for example, I'm a wannabe gardener, and there was about 1 centimeter of topsoil. And we looked right at Wishbone Hill, so my assumption was that about 8 inches down there was coal. I just couldn't even imagine. And you know that wind that pummels you guys down here? Well, right on the periphery of that property, that stuff gets going, and it pretty much tries to take us out before it calms down and heads your way. So I voiced all of these concerns very loudly, and I had my heels deeply, deeply dug in, but ultimately Lauren won out. I begged the now owners of our beautiful home, Sabrina Combs, to perhaps consider letting me live with her. She was open to it, but Lauren wasn't. The lack of topsoil was such an issue that at one point Lauren again reassured me that cows till with their hooves and they build soil, and that it wouldn't be a problem at all because we'd also be able to compost all of the waste from the chickens? And I said, wait, now there are chickens? I don't think so. But there were chickens, and there were ducks, and there were pigs. Let me tell you this really brief story. There were 5 hours old baby pigs, orphans, in my pantry. Baby pigs have to be fed every 2 hours. And guess who did the feeding? No, not my husband. In fact, I don't think he did one feeding. I did that, the not wannabe farmer. And what's funny about that is that one of the pigs he could hurdle pretty much anything after a few weeks. So Lauren would build the crib higher and higher for them, and he would hurdle the crib. And one morning I woke up to find him at my door. He had come up the stairs and was letting me know that he needed to be fed. So it was time to send them out of doors. During that time, now we're pre-cows because you have to build infrastructure for cows, and cows are expensive by comparison with kind of everything else. So Lauren developed a really amazing cross, a Tamworth Mangalitsa cross, heritage pigs. He was selling them to restaurants from Fairbanks to Homer, meaning boxes of meat. And things were going well right until the closure of the slaughterhouse out here, at which point we had to kind of shift gears and move a little more rapidly towards doing the cows. I spent a lot of my time supporting that effort. I would take the chicken eggs and the duck eggs to market. I baked for the market. I kind of learned to do all the stuff. And actually, looking back on it, I realized that many of the skills that came from being a fisherman's daughter and a fisherman kind of worked out. I knew how to work long hours, and truly there are long hours in farming. It is a very insecure situation. Our first 2 cows were Jerseys. They were A2A2 certified. We were pretty excited about that. And then we discovered that there were lots of cows in this region that needed homes. So Lauren began to adopt cows and heal them. He is very qualified, very knowledgeable, and very skilled at the nutrition for animals. And so he did a great job. I want to tell you what I've learned because, yes, we're doing cows. We have a bunch of cows. And in fact, this evening as I was getting ready to come here, he came walking through the door with his first milking shorthorn bull calf, born about 15 minutes before he brought it in. It's a darling little thing, and I still don't love it. I've learned that ducks are really good moms, and they share in the care of all the little ducklings that are born in the spring and summer. I've learned that pigs really stink. I've learned that cows are not necessarily good mamas. And the farther up the chain, the higher production animals are even less good mamas oftentimes. It's kind of been bred out of them, I think. Pigs are crazy strong, and the work is endless. What moves me, deeply moves me, is the dedication that dairy farmers and people who raise any kind of animals have. The work is, as I said, endless. It's amazing to me that somebody can put it. And I come from a fishing family. I get seasonal work that's 20 hours a day, but I never thought I'd see not seasonal, year-round work that's 18 hours a day every single day. This industry demands tireless, caring, dedicated, loving people. And for those folks who get our milk, we have raw milk shares, I think they can taste that in every jar of milk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Denise. Now, if you attended MatSu Untold last year, you probably spotted Bradley Carper, the guy with the rad hair, taking the photos for us. He'll make sure that you know he's from Ohio, especially if you are too. and you'll immediately sense his passion for storytelling. I know Bradley because he works for the borough, where he takes road pictures. So there you go. But what he might not tell you is about his decades of work in reality TV, his Emmys for cinematography on Discovery Channel's Deadliest Catch. And tonight he's back at MatSu Untold, not with a camera that he's pointing at you, but to tell us a story. Over more than 100 trips into Alaska, he decided he needed to find his way here. And it all came full circle in MatSu. Please welcome Bradley Carver to the stage.
I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit. I'm going to let Mike get this. Hey, I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight and supporting Amy and the MatSu Sentinel and just being a part of the community here in Palmer and this place that we know is the MatSu. This is kind of a full circle story about how I got here. It's way too long of a story to tell in 7 minutes, so I have to kind of smash a few stories together and little snidbits from some other ones to make sense of it. But yeah, she kind of explained a little bit about me. I worked in reality TV for 23 years, and after a lot of trips up here, it just made sense to move up here, and that's a whole another interesting story in its own. I am from a small town in Alaska, or I'm from a small town in Ohio, very similar to Palmer. It's got a lot of similarities to it, and I just kind of get a really strong connection here, and I think it's interesting looking back how I actually landed here in this place. So the story starts out in an airplane, in a Beaver, single-engine Beaver. I'm leaving Fairbanks with a crew of 4 people, me included, and a pilot. So there's 5 of us in this airplane, and we're headed to Anwar. And I was filming for a show called The Last Alaskans. And it was on Discovery Channel for a few years. In my opinion, it was a really good storytelling show. And a friend of mine that I used to work with on Life Below Zero called me up and said, hey, I want you to come out and I want you to film with us. And I want you to meet Haimo and Edna Korth. And these are some legendary people in Alaska. And on the way there, I just remember slipping into darkness. It was mid-December, and we leave Fairbanks. We're headed north. We're slipping into the darkness. We're leaving the daylight. And when I got to this place, there was not going to be any daylight. It was literally just that twilight. So we're about halfway there. It's probably a 3-hour flight from Fairbanks, and while I'm flying, I'm kind of dozing in and out to the hum of the airplane engine. I fall asleep. Well, all of a sudden, I lurch forward in the plane, and I wake up, and I realize the engine's off. The engine of the airplane had turned off, and all I can hear is the wind flying over the wings, and I can hear the wind, and I look back behind me, and my crew is freaking out. And I'm freaking out. I look at the pilot very calmly. He's punching a bunch of dials and doing his thing that pilots do. And I'm telling you, this 10 seconds was the longest 10 seconds of my life. It was like going through an earthquake. It takes a long time. Anyway, he gets on the ICS and he says, hey, man, everything's cool. No sweat. I forgot to change my fuel out of the wings into the main tank, and we ran out of gas. But it's all good. We got gas. And so engine fired back up, and we're good to go. And so I'm like really uneasy about this, as you can imagine. And so at this point, I start thinking to myself, what am I doing with my life? Why am I doing this? How did I get here, and why do I go on these trips? It took me a while to figure that out. So you have to understand, this goes back to 8th grade. 8th grade is where, truly looking back, is where Alaska actually kind of was seeded for me. And I remember this day very vividly. I had just gotten back from cross-country practice, and I was sweaty and dirty, and my mom was like, "Don't you be sitting on the couch." And so I go upstairs. I make a sandwich, a bologna sandwich with cheese and ketchup. And my dad's like, "Hey, you gotta come down to the living room and check this out." He's like, "I'm watching a documentary right now about these crazy people living in Alaska off the grid." And so I go downstairs. I'm like slamming the sandwich, and my dad's like, "Look at this." He's like, "Look, these people are living in like minus 35 in a little cabin in the middle of nowhere." And I'm fascinated by this. I'm just like, why would anybody in their right frame of mind want to live like that? And the mail plane comes and delivers mail in March, and it's all the Christmas presents. And this guy explains that the mail only comes every so often. And I remember vividly this scene of this guy. There was a young family, and this guy's wife, she's doing laundry. And I just remember her going outside and putting wet laundry on this clothesline at like minus 35. And it like freezes instantly. And she takes a stick and she basically beats the ice off of it and shakes all the ice off and then takes it in the house and lets it finish dry. And I'm just like so amazed that this is how you do the laundry in Alaska. Pretty wild. So fast forward here. So I'm back to this airplane. I'm freaked out after this incident happened, and we still had a little ways to go yet. And there's 2 planes ahead of us, and these people that we were going to go stay with and film for a couple weeks, they had to get their supplies too, and they bought a couple snow machines. And there's 2 planes in front of us. Each one had a snow machine and all the supplies and camping gear and all that stuff. And I'm looking out the window, just being like, seriously, why am I doing this? Like, what drives me to go do these trips? And I've done a lot of trips in Alaska. And I start thinking about these other moments that I've done these kinds of trips. And I'm thinking about this time that I was flying in a Coast Guard helicopter, filming search and rescue cases, and flying out to these crazy situations. And I remember going out to where we were supposed to pick a guy off of a boat, and he had mangled his hand up pretty bad on a fishing vessel. And I'm flying with 4 coasties, and it's just me, got a dry suit on, helmet, and we're getting bounced around. And I just remember the pilot gets on the radio, and he says, Air Station Kodiak, we have hit our bingo. He's like, we only have 20 minutes of fuel, and this boat is rocking. It's 30-foot seas. We're going to come back tomorrow. His hand's messed up, but we are not going to risk 5 people over this guy's hand, and we're going to come back tomorrow. And we ended up coming back tomorrow, and we ended up saving this guy's life, and we saved his hand. And so I'm thinking about other moments, like I'm on a Deadliest Catch boat after already being in the Bering Sea for a month, and seeing what 15-foot seas is like, which is an average day in the Bering Sea. That's an average chop day. And then I remember being in 25s and being like, this is insane. And I remember specifically one moment where we actually did get into 30s and 35s, and it was an occasional 40-foot wave. I mean, I don't know how tall this is, but just think 40 feet. That makes you realize how small you are. I think about the time that I was filming a show called Bering Sea Gold in Nome, Alaska, and I just had to go dive for gold. I had to do it. I was a filmer, but I was like, I want to try this. I almost drowned. Literally, the air hose came out and I almost died, and I had a friend that saved my life. I think about the times that I was trying to keep a tent secured in 70 mile per hour winds, and the crew was literally trying to keep the tent secured, Arctic oven tent, and then we got to go film. And I'm just like still looking out the window. I'm like, why do I do this? Like, what drives me to do these things? I've thought about that a lot over my career. So we end up flying in and landing on this lake, and we offload these snow machines, and I'm just blown away. An airplane taking some snow machines, and the logistics of living in the bush still to this day blows me away. I end up going to this guy's camp. We had three tents set up, and our objective there was to film a moose hunt and show some people trapping, show these folks trapping, do a little ice fishing, and just maybe some chores around the house. And we had a failed moose hunt. It didn't go well. We still were able to make a story out of it, but we still needed more content for the episode. We absolutely had to get more content. And so I remember calling up on the sat phone. I called up my executive producer, and he's like, well, what kind of chores are they doing? And I was like, I'll find out. And I called him back, and I was like, all right, they're, this gal's going to do some laundry, and they're going to do a couple other things. And he's like, yeah, laundry. And he's like, I remember she told me she's got a gas-powered washing machine. And so we split up, and a couple of my guys go film ice fishing with the husband, and me and one of my camera guys were filming this lady doing laundry. And I'm like, I've seen this before. Like, I totally know how to do this. And so, this lady goes outside after she does her gas-powered washing machine, puts the laundry up, does this thing that I've already seen before, and I'm just like, I can't believe people do this. This is so wild that people like still do this. And so after we film our day, these folks, they live in a cabin, and it's like a small 15, maybe 20 by at most, and they like guests, and they don't always want to hang out in their cabin. So they come to our tent and eat our food and hang out with us, and we chill out. And so this guy I'm hanging out with, he says, hey, why don't you come on over and have some tea, and we'll talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about what we're doing tomorrow. And so I go over there. I'm drinking some tea, and he's skinning a cat. She's literally working. I mean, he literally was skinning a cat, and she's working on some like little arts and crafts projects, some clothing stuff. And so Haimo Korth, he says, Bradley, so what brought you up to Alaska? Like, where did this all start? Like, how did you end up getting into this kind of stuff? And so I told him the story, the 8th grade story about this documentary that I saw with my dad in 8th grade, and he's like listening to me talk about it, and I'm telling him all these things that I saw, and he gets up, he pulls these gloves off because he was skinning this cat, and he washes his hands, and he like literally goes over to his wife, and he gives his wife a hug, and he smooches her, and I'm telling him about this woman that's like literally doing laundry. And they kind of start snickering, they're kind of like giggling a little bit here. And he goes, Bradley, that was us. That was us. And he said it was a documentary that was put out by Nat Geo in the early 90s called Braving Alaska. And I'm telling you, I literally spilled the tea on me. And to be honest, like, I'm surprised I'm not tearing up right now, because that was a moment that I teared up, and his wife came over and gave me a hug, and they're just like, I think you're supposed to be in Alaska. Yeah, it was a pretty amazing moment, and that, there's definitely more to that story, but it's what moves me, storytelling. It's why I do these things. It's why I go out and do crazy things. And my friends and family look at me and they think I'm absolutely crazy for some of the situations and scenarios that I've been in. And even looking back, I think I'm crazy too, but I do it for storytelling. I am much like Amy, I am a passionate storyteller. And I'm always looking for interesting people. I want to share stories about interesting people. It's random that I'm up here in front of the crowd, because it's usually not the case. I'm always the one behind the camera filming people and putting the spotlight on them. And I love that. And I love interesting people. So you have to remember, storytelling is everything we do. It's like if you communicate as a human, you are telling stories, you're hearing stories, you're sharing stories. It's part of it's how we communicate. It's how we learn. It's through education. It's books. It's magazines. It's documentaries. It's social media. It's films. It's radio. It's music. Storytelling, it literally makes our world go around. And storytelling is how I got here to the MatSu Borough. And I am very happy to be here. I love this community. I actually work for the MatSu Borough. And there's another individual here tonight, Jason. Jason's here. He's a coworker of mine. And we like what we do. We enjoy living in the borough. So I want to say thank you again. Thanks for having me here. Amy, thank you much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to hope all of you are news readers. You don't have to out yourself. But you also might be news watchers, which means you may recognize our next speaker from her past life as a reporter on Alaska's news source. But today, Carly Schreck is the Director of Education for Valley Abate, which is an acronym that I'm not going to tell you. She can tell you. And tonight she's going to talk about a nervous motorcycle student, community, journalism, and the truth that sometimes the most powerful stories are truths that that are a truth that you are allowed to be a part of. Please give it up for Carly.
I used to work in television. So I realize I put this story together and I don't really explain what Valley of Bait is. It stands for Alaska Bikers Advocating for Training and Education. There's a bunch of chapters all across the state, but essentially here at Valley of Bait, we're also a motorcycle school, and so we're a motorcycle training program. We teach people how to ride, and we also license them at the end of it. That's kind of important to know. So it's 7 a.m. on a Saturday, and I am not a morning person. But Valley of Bait has agreed to have a booth at the Anchorage Bike Blessing, so here I am. And as I'm driving towards Anchorage, the Valley of Bait phone rings, and the woman's voice on the other line is almost in tears as she tells me that she doesn't think that she's going to make it to her basic rider course this morning, and she's not even sure she cares to get a refund because just the idea of getting back on a motorcycle is sending her anxiety through the roof. I tell her to take a deep breath, and I ask her what her name is. It's Louise. So I ask Louise what happened. Louise tells me that she and her partner, who is not a certified instructor, went to the Menards Sports Center a few weeks prior to get some practice in on a motorcycle she's already bought, and that she's actually doing pretty well until one point the last thing she remembers is her partner yelling for her to do something before everything goes black. When she wakes up, she's on the ground, and her motorcycle is over a curb, on its side, and in a bush. She crashed, and so did all of her confidence. So I tell Louise, I am so sorry this happened to you. Don't worry about coming to the class. I will happily give you your money back, but I want you to do me a favor first. I want you to give it a couple of weeks. I want you to let the adrenaline wear off, sit with what happened, and if and when you're ready, I will reschedule you. I just want you to give this one more chance. It took some convincing, but I eventually got her to say, okay. So a few weeks go by, I call her, she's still not ready yet. Another few weeks go by, I check in again. She still needs more time, but she's starting to warm up to the idea. Another week or two go by, and I'm scheduled to teach a class with another rider coach named Matt. And Matt is one of those people who looks super intimidating, but is also like weirdly approachable. I can't explain it, but the students love him. This class is sold out, but we get a last minute cancellation. And so I immediately text Louise and I say, hey, I know this is last minute, but if you're still thinking about doing this, take this spot. I will be one of your instructors. I know your story. And everybody loves Matt. It's actually kind of annoying. And to my surprise, I get a text message back almost immediately, and it says, and I quote, let's do it. The confidence is starting to come back. So I got certified as a rider coach through the Motorcycle Safety Foundation in 2019. However, I grew up on the Anchorage training range. My dad has been teaching this class for over 25 years. And whenever he'd come home from teaching, I would always ask him how his class went. And he would usually tell me how many students passed. And usually he'd share a story about one student in particular that stood out to him that weekend. But whenever my dad came back from teaching in the Valley, which he did about once or twice a summer, his answer to that question was always the same. He would say, Carly, there's something so unique about the people in the Valley. And I never understood what he meant until I moved to Palmer in 2021 and started teaching out here myself. I get it now. So it's the morning of Luis's rescheduled class, mine and annoyingly lovable Matt's class. And we're a couple of exercises in, and Luis is nailing it. She's attentive, she's engaged, she's taking every piece of feedback that we're giving her and applying it to the Kawasaki W230 that she's riding. Not sponsored. She's absolutely crushing it. And so we're in a break early on in the class, and the students had created this loose semicircle with their chairs, and they're chatting while Matt and I are out on the range kicking cones around and getting things ready for the next couple of lessons. And I walked to the Connex to get a drink of water, which I desperately need now. Ugh. And as I passed the students, I overhear Louise telling her fellow classmates about her crash. It's a story she didn't have to share with them, one that most people wouldn't. Nobody asked her, she just wanted to. And after this break, something shifts. These 12 perfect strangers who likely would not have met otherwise started acting as if they had known each other for years. They were laughing together, they were learning from each other, they were having the best time. And whatever nerves Louise may have had coming into it were completely gone. And by the end of day 2, after our evaluations, it was an all-pass class. Louise was the only student who got a perfect score on the test out. It was unbelievable to see. Every class dynamic is different depending on the grouping of people that you get, but these students managed to create their own safe little world on the Butte Elementary School parking lot that weekend. Absolutely incredible. And as I hand Louise her completion card, she hugs me harder than any student ever has, and she thanks me for asking her to give this one more chance. Up until 2024 of November, I used to be the Valley-based reporter for Alaska's News Source. I had a camera and a microphone with my station's logo on it, but nobody ever called me by my name. Everyone always just called me Channel 2. There's an old saying in news, never influence a story and never make yourself a part of it. Amy knows. And I realized in that moment that I was both of those things for Louise. What they don't tell you in news is how hard it is to walk away from that industry. It's not just a job, it's an identity. One day you're documenting your community, and the next you're standing in it, wondering who you are to them now. After I left, I genuinely felt like I was falling. What I didn't expect was that the same community that I used to cover would be the ones to catch me. In helping Louise find her confidence again, I was given the permission that I needed to not follow the rules that I had lived by for years and allow myself to be a part of someone else's story. And even though I loved being a reporter, and I miss it so much, I'm still growing. And I'm glad that I get to do that out here, because my dad was right. There's something so unique about the people in the Valley. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carly, for sharing that with us. So we have one last storyteller for tonight. Our final storyteller is a familiar face to those of you who cross-country ski or fat bike or work for the school district or know someone in the school district. Mikey Evans is a self-described lifelong bike dork. Those are his words, not mine. Who has been in Alaska since 2005. He's married to someone he says is the best gal on earth, also his words. He has 2 daughters, and making him the perfect fit for us tonight, believes good stories matter, especially the ones that remind you that you're not the main character. To close our time, Mikey's going to share an adventure from Knik to McGrath by bike that demonstrates that very truth. Please welcome him to the stage.
Okay, I didn't work in TV. How does this work? I just want... Gotta go after her. Help me out, bro. Okay. You guys got one more in ya? All right. Well, I want to have a room with just like 30 kids in it instead of all these people. Okay, can everybody hear me now? Yeah. All right, good deal. 2 a.m., February 2025. I'm on the Puntilla side of Rainy Pass. I'm 150 miles into a solo individual time trial of the ITI 350 route to McGrath. It's my second full day on the trail, and the wind outside my bivvy is howling. The snow is driving horizontally across the ground, and it's entering through the open zipper on my sleeping bag. Pearl Jam are blaring from my phone. Eddie Vedder is screaming at me, it's time to go. I crawl out of my bag and pack the bike, careful not to let anything blow down the pass toward Puntilla. I'm riding now, following a single snow machine track through the pitch black night. I'm the first bike on the course at this point. I push over the top of Rainy Pass and drop into the Dalzell Gorge. The speed is crazy, and I can't wipe the 12-year-old smile off my face. My small headlight can't keep up with the speed, the turns, the creek crossings. It's super reckless, but I'm not slowing down because I got to make up time from the slow uphill to the top of the pass. I'm at the bottom now, and I come to my first real water crossing. The ice and snow look good, so I go for it. I just ride across, and the smile on my face grows bigger. I can't wait to see Roan. I have a drop bag there with extra food and fresh batteries for my devices. Another creek crossing. This one looks sketchy, so I stop and quickly pull trash bags on over my boots, and I secure them with straps around my knees. I start to cross on foot, pushing my bike. I hear a crackle and then a crunch, crash. I'm thigh deep in the water. I throw my bike to the opposite bank, only a few feet in front of me, but it feels like a mile, and I claw my way out of the water and back onto snowy safety. It's another 100 miles to Nikolai. I'm wet from the waist down. There's no help in sight. I think of stopping and drying out. I think of my dad. Nothing stops him. Nothing. He sets a goal, it's happening. He began running marathons when he was 34 years old, and this year turns 68. Along the way, he decided to complete a marathon in every state plus the District of Columbia, and to run them all under 3.5 hours. In January this year, he crossed the finish line in Las Cruces in 3 hours and 22 minutes, completing that goal. He had to run New Mexico 4 times to get it done, but he never stopped moving. I got to keep moving. It's 10 a.m. I'm leaving Roan, 200 miles from Knik, 75 miles to Nikolai. I've been wet for 2 hours, but things aren't too cold. I can still feel my feet and toes. Later in the farewell burn, I come down toward the Post River and I see bison. They split. The cows move away and the bulls circle on both sides of me. I pedal straight ahead. I'm, not making eye contact. No sudden moves. Just get to the Post River. They escort me to the river and let me pass. I'm solo again. Farther down the trail, I encounter tussocks. These mushroom-shaped piles of grassy vegetation are difficult to walk on, let alone ride over on a fully loaded bike. There are 40 miles of these things, and the bike is sometimes too heavy to ride through this lumpy nightmare. The tussocks do everything in their power to limit my forward progress. I ride a little, I stop, I flintstone, I push the bike, I ride some more. My left knee is screaming at me from poor choices I made the day before. Kicking steps up steep hills in soft mucklucks sounded like a good idea at the time, but it's not. I should have stopped and put on my micro spikes, but I didn't. Every step now burns with pain. Riding helps, but the tussocks won't allow it. So I push. I got to keep moving. My bike is heavy. It's 72 pounds, fully loaded, and I want this day to be over so bad. Why did I grab everything inside my drop bag in Roan? I really only needed the batteries and the Twizzlers. I can't help but take inventory. Extra food, 7 pounds. Stove, 1.5 pounds. Fuel, 2 pounds. The weight of it all is soul-crushing. My body aches, and it would be so easy to leave all this extra gear at the next safety cabin. After all, Bear Creek is just up ahead. Then, July 2007, I'm standing on the flight line at Fob Kalsu. I'm 30 miles south of Baghdad. I'm holding 3 perfectly folded American flags, ready to escort the remains of 3 heroes by helicopter to an airbase for transport home. A U.S. military burial flag weighs 2 pounds, and from the moment I lay hands on them, they are mine, and we are linked together until another unit takes responsibility. When you're holding those flags, nobody wants to talk to you. You are just alone with your thoughts. There's nothing to do but carry that weight. 3 folded flags, a weight so heavy you forget you're wearing body armor, ammunition, rifle. It's a hell of a lot heavier than bike gear. And unlike the 10 pounds of unused food and fuel I carried all the way to McGrath and would eventually dump out to make weight for my flight home, those 6 pounds are a weight I'll carry with me everywhere, always. The bike feels lighter now. I got to keep moving. I reached Nikolai in the dark, and I'm only 52 miles from McGrath. 52 miles along the Kuskokwim River. I leave Nikolai, and there's one track in front of mine now. It's Tyson Flaherty's. He's leading the race, and even though I had more than a 24-hour head start, he has passed me in the night. Tyson's speed serves as a humbling reminder not to ever take myself too seriously. After all, we're just riding bikes. The sun comes up, and it's a bluebird day. It's minus 10 degrees, mostly flat riding, perfect conditions. Endless switchbacks, one after another. And then you see the boat ramp off the river to McGrath. I ride up, roll to the finish, and immediately throw my hands up to calm the crowd. They think I'm Clinton Hodges, the racer that they were expecting. I am not Clinton Hodges. He also started a day after me, and we met in the dark this morning. I tell the finish line, he'll be along any minute now. He was resting in Nikolai when I left. The spectators retreat into their warm building. I cycle alone through town to pick up a frozen pizza and some beers. I'm tucked into a cozy bed at the Inoko Inn, warm now from a DiGiorno Supreme and several unshared Miller Lights. It's a chance to reflect. 75 and a half hours, 315 miles, lots of unscheduled dismounts, 1 mid-trip cold plunge, countless memories of people, places, and life experiences have moved me here. In the morning, I'll ride to the flight line and begin the trip home. I got to keep moving.
I'm going to turn this off so I don't conflict. Thank you, Mikey, for sharing that with us and for letting us carry some of that story with you, too. So that's a gift. I believe stories are a gift. That's why we do this. That's why I like to share them, and that's why I feel so honored when individuals in our community give us their stories in this setting. Because our storytellers are volunteers tonight, and they gave us their stories as a gift to us. And I'm just very, very grateful for every one of you. So please give them a hand. Thank you. I do see more food in the back, and I believe there's more drinks in the back. Thumbs up from Sabrina for drinks. Okay. And those are donated by Hamilton Farms and Palmer Brewing Company. So, yeah, don't make me take that stuff home. Okay. I am going to read off the names of our winners here in just a second. If your name gets called, and then I'm going to hand these sheets off to Christy over here. If your name gets called, you can go to the back to the where we had the sign-in table to get your item. Okay, there's some competition on these. All right, man, the Cheetos had to like go back and forth. Anyway, it's fine. You got some stuff. It's okay. Okay. So before I do that, I want to tell you about one more thing that we have coming up. If you've enjoyed this event, I want to make sure you know about our next big community gathering. Okay, so in the end of March, I know we all start to feel a little itchy in the end of March around here, okay? There's just like some poor choices that get made, and people start having arguments that you might think are a little silly. And so I thought, how can we help us not feel quite so itchy and mad at each other? And the answer to me was to have a party with music and ice skating and tacos and ice cream. Okay, so because we can create fun reasons to have community and to be together, we can do that. And so that's why I'm hoping you'll join me and the Super Saturated Sugar Strings on the last Saturday of March at the MTA Center Ice Rink. Okay, we're going to have half the ice rink covered for music and dancing, and we're going to have half the ice rink open for skating to live music. Tickets include ice skating and rentals. You know, get there early because let me tell you, as a size 9.5, I have to borrow the manager's skates every time I go. Okay? So I'm going to get there earlier. I'm going to be the first one. All right. Tickets include skating, rentals, as I said, Big Dipper's donating ice cream, El Senor Moose. They're going to be there with their taco truck. Palmer Brewing will be slinging beers. What's not to love? I hope you can come. There are some posters around the room where you can buy tickets, and they'll be on the MatSu Sentinel Facebook page today or tomorrow, because I might just go to bed when I get home. Okay. So thank you again for coming. You're the reason we do this. And now I'm going to read these auction winners for you. Okay. We have Patty Wilson, who won. I'm not going to tell you what you won. You're going to have to go find it out. Okay. Megan Maroney. Wait, hold on. Megan Maroney again. Bridget Preston. Nochelle Chandler. I'm sorry, Nicole maybe? It's a funny handwriting situation. Don't blame me. Okay. Mike Liebing. Okay, several people of the last name Ernst. 2. Fran Seeger-Boss. Robin O. Janelle Griffith. I bought this really nice paper, but I can't pick it up. I realized that today while I was printing things. Should have bought the cheap paper. Okay. Rachel K. Granat. Mary Mounts. Patty Wilson. Rod Cheadle. We're getting to the Cheadles now. Rod Cheadle again. And that is it. So, thank you. You can view this in the back. Thank you again for being here and for spending time with me. Drink more things.